is National Pain Awareness Month. And to celebrate, I brought the pain. According to the Schmidt-Sting Pain Index, a wasp sting feels caustic and burning with a distinctly bitter aftertaste, a 3. Now, stings and things like that are not what normally doctors do. Doctors test treatments on themselves, but getting stung on purpose to make a pain scale? Oh, dude, mad props to Schmidt. He said a yellow jacket feels hot and smoky, almost irreverent pain, but a 2. I mean, clearly, all the scale tells us is how stings feel to Schmidt. We're learning that pain feels different to different people. Redheads experience more pain. Women actually need higher dosing to achieve the same pain relief. Pain is personal. In order for patients to rank their own pain, in 1983, Wong and Baker published this scale that doctors use. Blogger Ali Brosh suggested that this scale may be more accurate for patients to use. I mean, when we get the intensity of pain, caregivers are great at treating it. Fractures, being mauled by a bear. But small pains that don't bother caregivers are often systematically ignored. Back pain, chronic pain. Doctors are in pain hearing about these pains. For example, needle pain. To most doctors, a needle means nothing. I mean, you don't go into healthcare if needles bother you. But as Elizabeth Holmes said yesterday, to many patients, needles mean dread, loss of control. Since 1995, needle fear has risen from 10% to 25% of adults, and 2/3 of children. 1 in 4 adults who don't get a vaccine say it's because of a fear of needles. So in 2 decades, we've gone from a rare fear to common. What's changed? Well, for one thing, injections. If you're born before 1983, you got at most 6 vaccines and you were too young to remember. But now we can prevent more diseases, so since the year 2000, children get 30 shots before they're 6. Now, the question is, do this many painful injections change the meaning of needles as you get older? I realized I had a database. As part of a pain relief study, we asked children aged 10 to 11 to rate their fear of needles, and we asked their parents. I then took this and correlated it with their vaccine history. Now, fortunately, the number of vaccines before age 2 didn't matter, and the total number didn't matter. But between the ages of 4 and 6, old enough to remember, the more injections you got on one day, the significantly greater chance you were afraid of needles 5 years later. So if you got maximum 2, only 9% of those kids were afraid. But the kids who got 4 shots on one day, 42% were severely afraid of needles 5 years later. And over the next 3 years, the most afraid kids were the least likely to start their HPV vaccines, 2.5 times less likely. The parents' attitudes didn't matter. The kids who were persistently afraid of needles had health consequences. Kids who are afraid of needles grow up to be adults who don't get flu shots, or start insulin when they need it, or donate blood. Advocating for treating needle pain to peers, like you guys who give blood for fun, is intimidating. And as a pediatrician, even thinking about questioning the schedule of vaccines is terrifying. But scientists do brave and daring things to help their patients. And if we can take the pain of long hours and getting stung to make a pain scale, once we're aware that needle pain matters, we can dare to talk about treating it. Happy Pain Awareness Month.